You mentioned that if you don't have a lot of money, you can enjoy books at the library. I would say even if you have a lot of money, just buy more books. You just like
Yeah, I like the way you did that plug for your books in the beginning. I'm so culturally, I just am not good at that. I was taking notes as to how smoothly and you did that so well. So I would wish I could do that. I'm always like, do you want to? You can get my books at the library because I didn't have money for books growing up, so I always got the books from the library. So I know, I don't know. I should be more brazen about it. Buy my books, Dad gummit.
I should. Wait, you know what? I like doing that right at the beginning because then I don't feel pressured to bring it up like where it
Yeah,
doesn't belong and try and shoehorn it in the conversation.
right. Like
And
every
I
other
always, I
word, you're
never want to
like,
be too aggressive, but don't watch the show, watch or listen to the show for however many episodes this has been now. I know we're closing in on 70. Um, don't watch or listen to all those episodes and never have a night. Oh, you wrote a book, Mr. Kent? I had no idea.
yeah,
That would be
that's
terrible.
just a disservice. That's the other part of it. Is you have to honor that vocation. I mean, you've written a book. That should be something that you honor. I don't know, being apologetic about it is not necessarily the best thing at all. So I appreciated that. I thought that was great. And then now I'm going to be like, Rickshaw Girl, Rickshaw Girl.
Well, no, man, I'm going to set you up right now because I want to talk about Rickshaw Girl.
All
And the
right.
first thing I could do is summarize other people's books,
Oh,
especially if I've got the author right here. Why would you want to listen to me get your book wrong when I could just say to you, Mitali Perkins, author of Rickshaw Girl, please tell us about Rickshaw Girl?
okay. Rickshaw Girl is the story of a girl who's growing up in Bangladesh. And in her culture, it's difficult for girls to work to make money outside of the home. And so they're just two daughters, and their father drives a rickshaw. He gets sick, and so Naima is the oldest daughter, and she's had to drop out of school. They don't have money for school fees for both sisters. So she's just indignant that a girl cannot make money. She can paint, she can draw alpanas, which is the traditional art that girls do on the doorsteps of houses. She's good at that, but that's not a money making thing. That's just a decorative thing. So why can't a girl make money? And she's frustrated. And so she decides that she's going to try to help her dad out and see if she can drive his rickshaw, even though you never see a girl driving a rickshaw. So she comes up with this crazy plan, and of course everything goes awry. And then she has to make it right. She has to have the courage to make things right because she makes a huge mistake that really takes down her, has a cost on her whole family. And then she has to figure out a way to make it right. So that's what that book is about. And uh, it's kind of fun now because I wrote it so long ago, and as I said, it was rejected so many times, Robert. And um, it didn't get any starred reviews. It didn't get any awards. It just kind of went under the radar. But I just got this picture of little Naima pedaling along on her rickshaw because it was translated into almost every language that values duty and honor. So most of the Asian languages, in fact, in Japan, it sells well, in Taiwanese, in Mandarin, in Hindi, in Marathi, in a lot of cultures where duty is valued and honoring your parents is valued, it's done really well. And so it's fun for me to see it sell also here in the United States, where we have more and more kids from those kind of cultures that have that value. But I think also Americans are reading it too. Like I'm born in the USA Americans, um, so it's fun to see that a book that was so quiet, kind of picking up steam bit by bit. She's pedaling uphill. She's making it. So it's exciting. Yeah.
That's so. I'm just gonna jump straight to a question I wanted to ask you because you wrote that it was published back in what 2008, 2007.
2007.
So
Yeah.
now, and it was 22 rejections somewhere in there, plus a long process to get it. How long a process was it to get it from written to published?
The first draft was a picture book. It was called, yeah, it was a picture book. And every time I wrote a picture book back in those days, editors would say, this should be a novel. This should be a novel. And what happened was I don't know if you've ever been to these signings, Robert, where you're sitting at a signing at an event. It was a conference in Boston. I can't remember if it was ALA or something, but I had my second book, Monsoon Summer from Random House, and I was sitting in one of those conferences. I don't know about you, but I always end up being next to one of these celebrity authors. So you're sitting there and there's no one there in your line, and then there's these long lines that are snaking out for the people next to you. So it was one of those events, and I had no one in my line. I was just sitting there, and I had the manuscript of Rickshaw Girl that I was working on, And so this lovely lady from the back of the line and the other line, the author next to me, I can't remember who was next to me, probably John Green or somebody like that. I don't know who it was. Some wonderful writer that had lots of fans. And this lady left the line, this woman left the line, came up to me and said, hey, I read Monsoon Summer. I really liked it. And I'm an editor at Charlesbridge. And this is after all the rejections of Rickshaw Girl. She said, well, what are you working on next? And I said, well, I have this manuscript, this Rickshaw Girl. So actually gave her the manuscript. And it was Judy O'Malley. Back in the day, she worked as an editor in Charlesbridge. And then she emailed me back, and I didn't have an agent then. No, I did have an agent, right? But we weren't selling any. No, I did have my agent, Laura Rennert, then. But that's how that book got acquired, was just in a terrible signing line at a dud event, just showing up, which is part of the career, right? You just show up, and you just never know who's going to you're going to meet, and that's why you keep taking yourself to these events and keep showing up. So Charlesbridge acquired it back in 2005, I think. It took a couple of years to edit it and get it in shape for a middle grade novel, and then from a picture book. And then it was published, and then it got no starred reviews, and then it got no awards, and then all that stuff, you know.
For those of you listening, she's pumping her fist with each of these. No awards, no stars.
I'm pumping my rickshaw. I'm pedaling. I'm pushing it up. Yeah, I tried to drive a rickshaw. They are hard to pump, so it takes a lot of effort.